Hello and welcome to Thoughts in the Green Room with your host, Jeff Mays. This week's topic, don't judge. Now, before we get into the topic, I want to say, hey, welcome back. It's been a little over a month. As you knew, if you were following me, I moved and the moving took a lot longer than I thought to get myself set up. Behind me you can see a little bit of the setup and obviously it's not green. It's going to take some time to figure out how to make this one green, but we'll get that sorted eventually. And with that said, let's move into the topic this week, which once again is don't judge. As an actor, one of the things that I'm often challenged to do is to portray a character without giving the character any judgment. When I do so, when I do judge a character, it compromises the character and therefore creates a weaker performance. So I can't do it. Let me give you a quick example. Let's say I've been cast to play some horrible, evil person that does absolutely detestable things. And the final scene is really, really horrid, and because it's against all of my morals about something that I would do in this situation, I make some choices to soften the character and make him a little bit more lovable and make him a little bit more easy for me to accept as a human being. And the result ends up being a character that isn't true to what was written or what's being called on to portray, and therefore a compromised or weakened performance, equaling not as much enjoyment for the audience. So I can't judge the character without compromising what I'm doing as a professional. And I've been asked many times, what do I do instead, or how do I get past this? And the only thing that we're left with in this situation as actors is to accept the character for who they are, for what they've been written as, for all the horrible things that they do or don't do, and accept this is what this character is. From there, it then becomes my job to understand why the character might do these things, what motivates the character to do these detestable things, and to the best of my ability, portray those things and bring this character to life. Therefore, or thereby, creating a character that is not compromised in any fashion, giving it the strongest possible performance for you, the audience, for enjoyment. It's a pretty straightforward thing when you think about it, but challenging. And I thought about the reasons why it was challenging over the last couple of weeks and realized that it is a challenging thing not to judge a character because we walk through life judging everyone around us. We judge the person who's moving too slowly in the car in front of us. We judge our partners for doing something that we wouldn't do that's now created frustration for us. We judge our friends for, and I'll stop right there because I think you get the idea. We spend our lives judging the actions of others against our own moral codes or our own choices that we would do if we were in their shoes from our point of perception. And in thinking about that, I thought, man, that makes life really difficult. If I'm always judging people, I'm always putting them down, I'm always, well, not always necessarily, I guess there's sometimes we judge people positively, but for the most part, I'm talking about what comes out of us negatively. And if we're always putting people down and judging them poorly, then how do we go through life with any conversation? And I believe that if we were to take a look as people, at other people, and work to accept them for what they're doing, it may give us the opportunity to reflect and have a better understanding of where somebody's coming from. Maybe that person who just cut you off on the road isn't an asshole. Maybe, just maybe, they're in a hurry because a loved one is in a hospital. And they're not thinking about you, but they're thinking about their loved one because they may only have a few minutes to get there. It's one example. And I believe that by working to understand and accept somebody, what it creates, at least for the people you interact with directly, is the opportunity to communicate, to ask genuine questions and find out why they did something that you wouldn't necessarily do, and through communication get to know the person better, and a bigger result, through communication, avoid the fight, avoid the conflict. And that, of course, although not easy, I think is an important lesson that translates from the acting world into the real world and applies to everybody universally. And with that said, it brings me around to this week's challenge, which is to sit back and reflect as much as you possibly can all week long. And look for the moments when you judge someone. From that moment that you identify as judgment, to pull back and see if you can try to accept the actions that went on. And then maybe see if you can understand them. Or, I guess, see if you can engage with strong communication to get a better recognition and understanding of why that person did whatever they did. And see if you can avoid the fight, the conflict, the anxiety, the fear, the frustration, the angst, and all those styles of emotions that come with, oh my God, I can't believe the person just did that! See if you can let it go. Find out why they did it. Those are your thoughts from the green room, and I am your host, Jeff Mays. We will see you in about 2 weeks. Take care.